Have you been searching for that next level upgrade? Ready to invest into something that is in it for the long haul? Well, look no further than the composite innovations provided by Prime. These customly crafted pieces are handmade by former Jason Johnson Racing car chief and Prime owner-operator Clyde Caniff. Prime Composite Innovations is located centrally in Missouri and is looking to provide that big-time performance at a fraction of that big-time price. For additional information, visit prime-composites.com today to see what they have to offer, as well as their stable of current full-time drivers that trust Prime with their ride. For the future of innovations, with the properly composited type, you can depend, move forward, and rely on Prime. Background. We're talking about NASCAR, Michael Jordan. Oh, God, look. Oh, God. It ain't the crying meme. It ain't the crying meme. But he has won, ladies and gentlemen. He has won this situation in NASCAR. Has changed. This was posted 6 hours ago. 2311 Racing and Front Row Motorsports will be allowed to run as chartered teams in 2025 after a judge issued a preliminary injunction Wednesday in their lawsuit against NASCAR. So they came in here, said NASCAR's a charter or a monopoly. This isn't fair. It's fucked up. They have no competitors. Screw them. We're suing because, we don't like it. The ruling will also allow for the transfer of Stewart-Haas Racing charters to the teams. So basically, there was this war in NASCAR after Michael Jordan and them went after them. They were trying to get kind of like a pass. We want our charter benefits for 2025, even though we're suing you. We want the similar style treatment as everybody else. We just want some of y'all's bullshit to be fixed. NASCAR was like, fuck you. You're coming and suing us. You don't deserve shit. And basically a judge stepped in and said, nope, y'all are going to have to basically treat them as a chartered team going into next year. So this is a big win. It's a big situation to where there's a little bit of a break in the armor of all the power that NASCAR's had. A little statement here. It says, finally, the public interest favors entry of a limited preliminary injunction for the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series season. NASCAR fans and members of the public who may become fans have an interest in watching all the teams compete with their best drivers and most competitive teams. Further, the public has an interest in preserving the rights of litigants to pursue legal claims in good faith, particularly antitrust claims that aim to preserve the process of commercial competition. Now, here is the problem with this whole entire situation. Antitrust, monopolies, owning everything, controlling everything, no competition, blah, 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 having all the tracks, everything that NASCAR has. The simple fact of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, NASCAR went around and bought all these tracks and own all these things because nobody else wanted to, okay? Nobody else wanted to own these racetracks, operate them. They weren't making a lot of money. It takes a lot of money to operate, and if you weren't playing by NASCAR's rules, and this is where there's a little gray area, if you weren't playing by NASCAR's rules or willing to sell to NASCAR or one of their buddy system, buddy click-based conglomerates that owned a bunch of tracks, then you didn't get a NASCAR race. If you didn't have a NASCAR race, then you really had this big facility that was worthless, because without a NASCAR race, you ain't going to have no NASCAR stock car style series come there and put on a show that brings in a lot of fans or attention to make it a profitable venue. So NASCAR would have the ability to shut you down because you don't have anyone to go up against, or there's no high limit series of NASCAR racing. If the Outlaws don't want to come to your fucking racetrack, you ain't got nobody to put on a show with. Now, NASCAR did have to go up against at one point in time. Funny enough, USAC stock cars. They did have to go up against ARCA. There was some other, ASA and other things. Those obviously weren't big track series for the most part, but there was competition at one point, and NASCAR won. All these other series went bankrupt. They all quit. They all went away. There was only one series in town because NASCAR won the battle of staying alive. I mean, motorsports isn't necessarily a profitable industry. We talk about it all the time on how much these kids and people are spending $25 to $35 million at the ages of 16 to 23 just to potentially try to be on the NASCAR Cup Series roster. Imagine what you would be attempting to do if you was trying to put on a race or start a series or even convince enough car owners to start a competitive series. If a place wanted to open up a competitive stock car series next year, they wouldn't have the infrastructure or the relationships to even fathom doing that. So you're talking about a make-believe monopoly in a way. It's not a monopoly because NASCAR's keeping people from building another series or building other tracks. It's a monopoly because nobody else is even wanting to spend that amount of money to attempt to do it. And those who have fell into financial struggles to the point that NASCAR bailed them out / bought them. And in NASCAR, and I've always said this, kind of works as a government entity. Well, they don't really bail you out. They take ownership of you. Or you start living on that government cheese they give you, and then you're dependent on their government cheese. And if you don't want to eat the government cheese, you starve to death and die. It's a very interesting industry. But that's the issue with this whole antitrust and monopoly situation. Nobody else wants to. There's no restrictions on anyone to go and start a series or build tracks and race. They're trying to say that they're mad at NASCAR because NASCAR won't come to your track if you was to build one. Well, that's the freedom of business. If the right to refuse service. Just because my services are the most successful service doesn't mean I am indebted to serve you. So I don't know where this is all going. It's a great show. It's really entertaining. It makes a lot of sense because, NASCAR just does own everything and push and bully everyone around. And there are agreements with their race teams and owning tracks. So the splits in the contracts and the charter system where tracks get this amount of money, NASCAR gets this little amount of money, teams get this little amount of money. You're really double dipping because NASCAR has a lot of ties in with the racetracks. And then now NASCAR owns a lot of the broadcast companies that are being subcontracted to pay or be paid to produce a NASCAR broadcast. So now they're like triple dipping into this revenue system. Sounds like Flow. But Flow don't own any racetracks yet, I think. But if, for instance, if Flow was to own 80% of the racetracks that High Limit went to, and then High Limit's with this new charter system, like, hey, we're going to give the teams 10%, we're going to give Flow 10% or 20%, or say we're giving the teams 20%, Flow's going to get 10%, and then the track's going to get 70%. But if Flow owned all the fucking racetracks, you ain't just getting 10% Flow. You're getting fucking 80%. And so that's kind of what's happening here. And that's kind of the issue here with the relationships and close ties. NASCAR don't own the tracks, but the buddy system, or they don't own all the tracks, but the buddy system in this situation is so close. It's unbelievable. The connections of buddy systems, the Illuminati feel of this society group-based situation in NASCAR is so scary, so scary. But once again, the antitrust, the monopoly, there is no restriction. There's just nobody else can do it better than them, and nobody wants to spend the amount of money that NASCAR has spent over the years to get to where they are today. And technically, with the amount of investment and money and time and effort that NASCAR's put into it, they kind of deserve to own and operate and control a segment of motorsports. My advice to Michael Jordan and all these people, if you want to take NASCAR over, just get into this dirt track thing that would cost like a fifth of the percentage of a 10% to operate or be involved in asphalt racing. Give us some marketing over here, and in 5 years, we would destroy NASCAR. NASCAR would be the new IndyCar in the 90s. We'd be NASCAR in the 90s. We'd take the whole fucking thing over. You know, I mean, NASCAR would be a thing of the past.
This is how we ride. This is how we do. Riding mud, sliding up.